Peter Ndoro is. Peter, it's over to you.
Vanessa, thanks very much indeed. So I think the images and the visuals that we've been seeing this afternoon of those of protest, of refusing to accept election results, and some of them that haven't even been declared yet. But what's been going on every single day for the average citizen is some have been trying to go to work and others have had to make a plan. And a informal sector has grown phenomenally. To take us through some of the business and economic aspects of Zimbabwe is the president of the Confederation of Zimbabwe Industries, the CZI, Mr. Sifelani Jabangwe. Thanks very much for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's start with the images that we saw today. A lot of people outside looking in are saying we want to invest in Zimbabwe. This might be of concern to them. What would your message be to the international community who's seeing these images today?
Look, yes, we have seen what we've seen today, and Zimbabweans generally are peace-loving. And yes, the unfortunate challenge is that these elections have been pretty tight in terms of the expectations of who is actually going to emerge as the winner. This now seems to have overtaken a group of our people who now had gone onto the streets, and as leaders, including us as business leaders, we are urging people to respect the processes of the elections that we have embarked upon. Because if there are any issues, this is why we, as a country, we invited the observers, including the press, including everyone, to really scrutinize what is happening on the ground, so that if there are any challenges, these challenges can be challenged formally. Because with all these processes, there's a due process for each and every step of the way. And if there are then challenges, then perhaps they need to protest, let it be justified as to what is it that we are exactly protesting against. We sought recourse and failed to achieve that recourse. And as you can see, it was not the generality of the population that was involved in this. Those that were at work in the central business district are now having to bear the brunt and walk home and so forth. And the real danger sometimes with these sort of things is that criminals can take over these sort of things, and you now have the challenges of people getting attacked, goods getting robbed. Fortunately, at the moment we've not had that. But I think we would like to urge the international community to just keep watching. We believe in Zimbabweans and their love for peace, that we will find each other and find a peaceful way through this result. So far, as you have seen, these have been the most peaceful elections I think anywhere else in the world. They had been up to now no beatings, no one getting killed, nothing like that. And all the parties had shown significant maturity. They would drink with each other, wearing different regalia and so forth, which is what we expected. So our people generally have accepted the issue of open elections. So now what we just need to do is, all leadership, let's help our people to remain calm and to accept and wait for the due processes.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the economy. At the hotel that I'm staying at, every day when I wake up, I look across the road and there's a bank, and there are people standing in queues to get cash out of the bank. This is something that has really made life difficult for the average Zimbabwean. How can business function? How can people function in such circumstances? What is it a sign of? What's going on?
All right. Well, the unique thing, I think once you've noticed that when you go to those people, none of them are extremely angry. Here's the thing. The digital money payment platforms in Zimbabwe are extremely advanced. With your mobile money, with your mobile wallet, you can pay for anything. You can pay for anything right up to 50 cents. Anything at all. Even some of the vendors now have payment platforms that have been introduced by the banks. But what is happening is that when currently when someone gets the US dollar, they are going straight to the black market. There are some markets where they are smuggled imported goods, and the goods will be cheaper. Because now, if the bank gives you $100 with the premiums that are existing, one can either do two things: take that $100 and buy directly from the black market, or sell the $100 into your RT, what we're calling the RTGS or bond, and get maybe 40% or up to 60%, premium on that, and then they go with the electronic money to buy. This is really the challenge that we're having. So the challenge that we are having partially has to do with the imbalance between the actual cash in the economy and the what we're calling the dollars that we have, the RTGS dollars. So you find that premium is where people are going to get whatever they can get from the bank. There's a premium that they can earn. Now, the economy at the moment is also short of cash, because the same US dollars that we're using to buy tomatoes and bread is the same ones that corporates are also requiring to go and buy raw materials. Okay. At the moment, all our companies, when you talk to them and you ask what is the biggest problem that they have, it's actually accessing foreign currency to buy raw materials. Because at the moment, the performance of these companies in the last three years is jumped significantly, to the extent that we have some of our beverage companies now 50% up on volumes, last year's volumes. What we've been measuring our capacity utilization, it moved up from about 30%, around average of 34% in 2015, and currently to 47%. And currently we project we're just going to do the survey. We project that it is now between 50 to 60%. This is just over the last 3 years. And when you look at the economic statistics, in 2015 the growth rate of this economy was actually 0.6%. Sorry, that was in 2016. And then in 2017 the growth rate was about 3.7%. This year we're projecting between 4.5 and 6%. So that growth now needs to be fueled by raw materials, and hence the excess demand for currency. So the
manufacturing sector is growing. If you are producing goods, that means people are buying them. True. Who's buying them if there's 90% unemployment?
I think when you look at it, if you recall, in Zimbabwe, when you say 90% unemployment, you're looking at the formal employment. But what has happened is that a significant, probably half the population is actually in informal employment, where there are companies operating but not necessarily registered. And as you go through, even when you go through the CBD, you see a lot of small shops that used to be big shops, which have now been subdivided into clothing shops. And all these, it has created, this is where the people are, a number of people are actually employed. You go, some of them have gone into, as we're saying, you go and see them, they're selling fruits, they're selling, so they've become a different route to the market. So that informal sector is the one that we are also trying to say, how can that be formalized so that they play a significant role in the economy? Because you find that some of the biggest distributors for some goods, particularly like fruits, it's now become the informal sector. When the informal vendors started selling fruits within their trucks, for instance, Apple's consumption jumped up fourfold.
Right.
Which then means that the whatever earnings are being earned from that are coming from that sector. Then you look at like we're saying, most of these are also serving the small scale gold producers who are currently producing 50% of the gold in the economy. There are some that are also serving the farmers, because the farmers, when they get the earnings that they have gotten, for instance, from tobacco,
Mr. Jabangwe, unfortunately we ran out of time, but I think this is a conversation that we need to have. But clearly there's an economy that's growing, and it's growing significantly, and perhaps what's happened is that it's restructured somewhat. The informal sector perhaps needs to be formalized in some ways, as you were saying. I mean, 50% of the gold output is coming from the informal sector. Agriculture, bumper crops in tobacco, the biggest one in history this year. So significant gains, and I suppose, and I guess with a positive election outcome, that the Zimbabwean economy will continue on its current trajectory. That's where we're going to leave it for the time being. We'll catch up with you again in the next hour.
All right, Peter, thank you.